Alright, hello. My name is Nestor. I'm here to give you guys the basics of Digimon card game and how to play it. I'm mostly making this video just to help teach my friends because I'm really promoting this game to my friends, so obviously I have more people to play with. Um, so yeah, let's get into it. Alright, the first thing I really want to tackle is the Digimon cards themselves and the basics of what you'll see and read from a couple of these cards. So the first ones we have here are a level 3 and a level 2. Level 2s are basically your Digimon eggs, which you usually keep in the breeding area. One way to tell that it is an egg as well, or if it's meant to be in the breeding area, is by the back of the card itself. You will see an egg on it. I believe you actually do see eggs on the back of regular cards like these, as I unsleeve that. But obviously you could tell one is white, the other is blue. So this is mostly made for your personal deck, while this is in your breeding area. Your breeding area, you could have anywhere between 4 to 5 cards. So you usually want to go with 4 of the same ones for consistency. Your eggs are pretty important to your deck due to the fact that it plays a lot into the overall structure of your deck. It is the base or the foundation for it. So inherited effects is something that your Digimon get when they do promote out of your breeding area. So let's say you Digivolve Kiaromon to Shumon. So pay attention to the placing too, right? A lot of people place it like this due to the fact that they can see their inherited effect. Their inherited effect is right here. This layout definitely helps out a lot in your card game, so anytime you do something, you could read it and realize what inherited effects do come in play when you are playing the game. But yeah, that's normally the basics of your eggs. So keep in mind, white back, level 2s usually, and they usually have either an egg on top because you can't play these out in the field. Yeah. And let's get back to our actual monsters. Ooh, one more thing. I'm sorry. A lot of Digimon cards are titled in a way. If you check the top of this card, it says Digimon. It does give you a title of what that Digimon or that card is. And for example, the egg itself, Digi-Egg. Easy way to distinguish from one card and another. Examples of something else. Let me see. I know I have other stuff around here. We have Tamers, as well as options. Oops. There you go. All right. Alright, so let's get back to our Digimon monster cards. Let's go ahead and look at the layout and format of it. On the top right, it is displaying the DP, which is, I'm not sure if it stands for digital points, digital power, Digimon power. I just know it's basically its attack damage, or whatever you would like to describe it as. This does come into play when it comes to battling other Digimon. Security and effects that may increase it or decrease it, so keep that in mind. On the top left is the play cost. So play cost of 3. So play cost largely deals with if you're going to straight out play a card from your hand directly into the battle area. So if you do, I didn't bring a memory marker, I'm silly, but here, we'll use this penny. Let's say I play out Shumon straight from my hand to the battle area. That's 3 memory I have to give my opponent. So keep in mind, play cost is what your card is going to cost you to play it out. So let's say, let me quickly look around here. Oop, let's say I have 1 memory, right? And obviously my opponent still has doesn't have control yet, right? If I want to play out this level 6 12 cost Andrillamon, I would have to play 12. But due to the fact that I don't have 12 memory to work with, I only have 11 all the way to 10, I can't play it out. But let's say hypothetically I have 3 memory due to me having a memory setter, which I could get into that as well later. I do have that availability of playing this out, but in exchange I will have to give my opponent, let's see, 9 memory to work with due to that play. Okay, and let's get back to Shumon. Under play cost, let's see, it's the Digivolution cost, and what color it does Digivolve out of. So it can Digivolve from a level 2, which keep in mind, Kiaromon is a level 2. Another distinguisher is there as well, level 2. So it basically digivolves on top of that. So that's the Digivolution cost, right? On a level 2 for free. Okay. And let's go ahead and go to the next part, level 3s. So all Digimons do have levels. Ooh, there we go, that's better. All Digimons do have levels, and they do digivolve from one another sequentially, unless there is an effect that allows them to play or digivolve, that allows you to warp or skip a Digivolution into it, or requirement. Let's go to the next part. Let's see, I'm terrible with working with this. Under here we have what stage that Digimon's in, what type it is, and what's its species and category. So we could see Shumon is a rookie, virus type, and its trait is puppet / category being liberator. So that's important due to the fact that sometimes you do have cards that do allow you to draw into them due to their type, species, stage, and so on and so forth. After that, you have your inherited effects. Like I said before with the eggs, your inherited effects do play a large part of your Digimon and what they get out of their Digivolution. So very important when it comes to deck building, how you could get your Digimon stack to get stronger is a lot of the times based off of your inherited effects. Alright, and lastly, obviously, text boxes. If you want me to get deeper into this, please let me know. I'll try to help you distinguish the differences. Obviously, feel free to ask questions, and I'll do my best to reply. Okay, next I want to build upon Digivolution. Like I said before, it is sequential. So you have Kiaromon, and from Kiaromon being a level 2, you can only Digivolve from Kiaromon next to a level 3. Keep in mind for Digivolution cost, because at the end of the day, it does cost to make moves, right? After Shumon, you have, well, guess what? Shumon. Shumon does have a Digivolution cost of 2. As you can see right there. 2. DP of 5,000 and a cost of 5, right? So if I was to go ahead and Digivolve from Shumon, it would give my, let's say we are on 0, I would have to give my opponent 2 for Digivolving. And if I also play it straight out to the battle area, it will cost 5. Another thing to keep in mind too, which is super important, I need to remind myself all the time, every time you Digivolve, and I mean every time, here I'll keep the stack right here just to give you an example. This would usually be in the breeding area, which is over here. I'll go ahead and go through the mat part of it the last second, or how the playboard usually looks like. I'll go ahead and let's say I Digivolve Kiaromon and I Digivolve into Shumon, right? As soon as I keep in mind, it is usually free for level 3 to Digivolve off of level 2. After I Digivolve, remember to draw every single time. So I go ahead and draw. So this is where some of the draw power too comes into play. And I'll go ahead and put this back. So keep in mind, it has to be sequential unless, like I said beforehand, there is a way to skip a level into Digivolve into the next. Let's see. I do want to build upon one more thing before going on forward. Let's see if I could find a card. Perfect. All right. We have Hanimon. Sorry if it does show some light reflecting back. So if you look at Hanarimon, it usually cost him 1 memory to Digivolve from a level to either purple or yellow. So keep in mind too, you're only really allowed to Digivolve from colors unless otherwise. And when I say otherwise, there are exceptions. So check this out, right? You could completely bypass Digivolving from colors if it meets the requirements for its Digivolution. So check this out. There we go. If you check the text box that says Digivolve, it does Digivolve from Kiaromon for a cost of 0. So let's say someone that's ignorant or naive didn't pay attention, that they saw only the top portion of it based on the prior experience. Oops, sorry for the flash, guys. They would assume it's only going to cost them 1, right? So they could possibly lose a turn that way. But since Kiaromon in name is available in my breeding area, I can go ahead and Digivolve on top of it for free due to the fact that there is an exception of Digivolution Kiaromon 0 cost. Let's see. I'll quickly go over on plays and start of main, so that way we have some differentiating some keywords or boxes that are pretty basic to most decks that you could go ahead and learn from, or how to properly activate them, I should say. Let's see. For example, let's take that Shumon I had before. Say this is my breeding area, right? While you're in the breeding area, you really can't activate any effects from your Digimon cards. For example, we'll take that Shumon I had prior before. Oops. On play. So we'll go ahead and Digivolve from our egg. And once we Digivolve from our egg, let's say hypothetically this is the breeding area, just because we don't lack the proper space. Well, we currently don't have the proper space to display it right now, but I will show you guys what that layout usually is. I'll probably put an image up somewhere maybe like right now, of how a board state usually looks like and how to put or where to put things at. But usually when you're playing off the breeding area, you really can't use any effects from your breeding area from your Digimon card unless there is a box that says breeding. Then from there, read the text and it usually tells you what it does. But those are very rare occasions. So on-play effects. So on-play effects usually mean playing straight out to the board. Then on play, you could go ahead and use the effect that is on the card itself. Let's go ahead and see if I can pull us out a start of main phase card. I'll go ahead and bring out Arisa. So Arisa is a good example of actually, let's get a memory setter. So Arisa is a really good example, or Tamer cards in general are really good examples of start of your turn or start of your main phase. So keep in mind, blue text super important because it does give you a lot of information to work with, or even not only that, but how should I say this? Resources. Memory is your resources in this game. Start of your turn. So start of your turn, as soon as your turn even starts, right? So this includes your unsuspend phase, your draw phase, your breeding phase, and start of your main turn. Start of main phase. So as soon as it becomes your turn, you can go ahead and move your memory gauge to 3 on your side. So it gives you that to work with. So decks in general are usually pretty color based. Usually. You're not allowed to use option cards. For example, we'll bring out Yellow Scramble. As you guys can see, colors do play a huge part of the game. For example, Yellow Scramble. You're only really allowed to use option cards if you do have the color available on your field. So keep in mind your field does include your breeding area. So let's say you only have a Kiarumon on your breeding area and nothing else to really work with. You could still play a Yellow Scramble, Yellow Memory Boost from your hand without worrying about the accessibility from your colors. So as long as you have a yellow out in the field, you are fine. There are exceptions to this, but those are other option cards. But keep in mind, like I said, option cards, you're only really allowed to use them if you have the color out on the field. On option cards as well, we do have, let's see if I could bring it up. Perfect. Security. So a lot of option cards and tamer cards have a security effect, which usually is played off of when an opponent attacks your security. Your security is basically your lifeline in this game, your life points, your health. I can't reference any other games besides like Yu-Gi-Oh, since I played that a lot as a kid, but basically that's what keeps you alive and in this game, right? So let's say your opponent attacks your security, and when they flip it over, your security card is now exposed to your opponent's Digimon. So a couple things happens there. It's either a Digimon that you're facing or an option card. And from there, if it's checking your security, you can go ahead and play the security effect of this card. And that's when it activates. One thing I did forget to build upon beforehand is tamer cards. Tamer cards are usually on the board until they are destroyed or have a deletion effect that you have to either bottom deck this tamer card or throw into the trash for some reason. So they are usually, as soon as played out, stayed on the board until given a reason not to. Option cards, for the most part, unless they have a delay, which means that they have to stay on the board till that delay is activated. But for the most part, option cards do fall out of the field after being played. For example, we'll go ahead and use physical training as an example. As you see, it does have the keyword delay, and if you read the in parentheses right after, by trashing this card After the placing turn, so that usually means the turn after, activate the effect. So delays usually played the next turn of. Next is I'm going to show you my mat and show you what a usual turn looks like and the dynamic between maybe I'll show a match. I'll probably make that another video so you can see how the tempo usually goes, and from there basically how to play the game. But for now, I'll go ahead and switch cameras and show you what my mat looks like, so that way I can go ahead and explain the board a bit more. And that looks okay for now. At least it captures for the most part what I'm looking for. Okay, so let's talk about board states or board placements. So we'll check this side first a bit more, just because I feel it's pretty important to know. Usually playmats have a memory gauge, which is super important. Obviously, this is how match tempo is usually, or turns I should say, is usually gauged by. It's always going to be your turn as long as the memory is on your side. As soon as you play a card, for example, and it goes to, let's say, 1, your turn is officially over, unless you do have an end of turn effect. But besides that, usually your turn is over. But keep in mind, you have to go ahead and, let's say I did play a card that made that gauge go to 1. I want to go ahead and activate the on play effect and make sure that's finished before I go ahead and finish my turn. Okay. On this side is your deck. Obviously, this is where you keep your deck, and underneath it is your trash. Anything that does get either trash from your hand, battle area, or even security does go to your trash. Next is security. So you usually have 5 security at the beginning of the match. Usually, I will build upon that later, but outside of security, well, actually, on security, remember, as soon as you get cleaned out of all of your security, your opponent has to land a finishing blow. If not, the game is still on. So until your opponent attacks you directly, the match is still going on. So as soon as you hit somebody for the final blow, that's usually when the game ends. Raising area, breeding area, whatever you would like to call it, is where your eggs will be placed at. Keep in mind, you can only have about 4 to 5. Some people like to keep a 5th one for tech. Usually, if you do want to play on your locals, they prefer to have them completely sleeved, and as well as having them all matching, right? I'll go ahead and go through the tempo of what a usual game looks like, or at least for the most part. Alright, let's go. So, obviously shuffling your cards. So, beginning of the game, you usually give your opponent the availability to split your deck, so they might split your deck for you, or do that, just tap it for you. Next, you want to give yourself 5 cards, and everybody is allowed 1 free mulligan per, I want to say match? Not match, per round. So, you could go ahead and see your hand. I look at it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't have any cards I could possibly play off of right now, or I feel like that could possibly help me as my beginning hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and just reshuffle it in. Then no matter what, you do have to accept the second hand. So let's say, you know what, 1 2 3 4 5. So next you have to set up your security after giving yourself your hand. So 1 2 3 4 5, and just put this here so that way you guys can see it. So usually that's how the beginning board state should look like. I'm sorry. Then start of your turn. If you are going first, you can't draw a card. If you are going second, you are allowed to draw a card from your deck. let's say hypothetically in this situation I am going first. Usually the sequence is unsuspend, draw, raising or breeding, and start of main phase or main turn, and from there so on and so forth. It's my turn. I'll go ahead and hatch for breeding. Let's say hypothetically this is a level 3. I'll go ahead and play a level 3 off of my level 2. Draw. So remember, every time you digivolve, always draw. I always forget, but draw. I have to remind myself every time. I try to give myself a little phrase saying draw for Evo. I always forget. Another huge thing to remember as well is that you're not here. Let's see if I get a good card. Perfect. Let's say I play this Digimon straight from my hand to the board. You are not allowed to attack if you played a card straight out from your hand. It is stunned for the turn and won't be able to attack security. That being said, if it does have an on play, you can still activate the on play, but you're not allowed to attack with that Digimon unless there are a lot of unlesses in this game, so keep that in mind. Unless it has rush, and if it does have rushed, you can go ahead and check for security with that Digimon. But let's say the sequence for this is, since I don't have any level 3s, I'll go ahead and play Sangomon. Sangomon's effect allows me to reveal the top 3 cards of my deck, but remember, I always forget this too. Keep in mind, I'm still fairly new myself. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and add a card with Aqua, Sea Animal, and any of its traits, and 1 card with Liberator among them to your hand, and return the rest of the bottom of the deck. So there is one right here with Aqua. Oh, actually, is Aqua? It technically does count as Aqua. You do get these ruling types. Let's see. I think I'll just display the card on the screen, but basically there are rules that give aquatic types. So this card does count as an aquatic type or Liberator, so I'll go ahead and take that and put it into my hand. For the rest, I do have to put them in the bottom of my deck in any order, so I'll go ahead and do that. Then I went ahead and gave the turn to my opponent at 3 memory. So keep in mind, memory is how you gauge turns, as well as a resource. So keep in mind, every time you give your opponent memory, you want to usually give them as little as possible, so that way you can still keep the power balance in your hands. Another thing as well, if you have a Digimon in your breeding area, and let's say this is round 2, for example, right? Or not round 2, turn 2, and it's my turn. This is how it would usually look like. Unsuspend, if you have anything suspended on your board. Draw. Breeding. I do have a Sangomon on the board, and on my breeding area, and I do want to take that out, so I'll go ahead and move it into the battle area. So since it did come out of the battle area and it was there prior the last time on the board, I can go ahead and actually suspend for security to check security on my enemy's board, or my opponent's board, I should say. If you do that, let's say hypothetically, same thing, right? They attack mine. Let's say for this instance, right, Sango's checking my board for 1 security, right? Boom. I just hit Yao Qinglong, so we could go ahead and play the security effect that Yao Qinglong has, which is on the bottom part. Remember that as well. And it says play this card without paying the cost. If it does have any on plays, go ahead and activate the on plays. If not, go ahead and play out anything else on there. If not, just go ahead and put it on your board. Yeah. So keep in mind, every time you do attack, you do have to suspend. Usually suspending does require you to move your Digimon to suspend prior to checking. And keep in mind as well, when you suspend, you are not allowed to unsuspend until your next turn, which is your unsuspend phase. So keep in mind as well, I'm probably going to say that a couple of times, or probably already have so far in this video, but when your Digimon is suspended, it is a valid target for an attack, right? So let's say I do want to attack your board instead of your security, that is an option. Keywords do come up a lot, so there are workarounds to something, so keep that in mind. So yeah, so let's say back to my turn, let's say this is turn 3, right? I can go ahead and unsuspend and continue on the board, or unless it was destroyed. Let's say for this instance it was destroyed, now I have to put it in my trash. So yeah, usually this is how the game flow goes around, plays about, I should say. If there's any questions you have, I'm probably like the worst teacher right now, guys, so please don't rely on me too much. But yeah, that's usually how the tempo goes in these games for the most part. If there's any questions or concerns, feel free to send them my way. One last thing I want to do, build upon colors. Colors in decks usually do have different abilities and how they play the game and how they interact with the board. I recommend dabbling into a little bit of every deck if that's available or an option to you. Different play styles, it's fun. It does have its different archetypes as well. I'm more of a purple, black, and I believe a little bit of a red player myself. I'm playing Millennium on right now, but yeah, um, have fun. Don't take it too seriously. I know a lot of new people are coming in with Time Stranger because it was pretty popular recently. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or concerns, or more importantly, any ways I can improve, feel free to let me know. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and peace.